So protectionism. When we're talking about protectionism, we're talking about government economic policy to restrict importation. That is what protectionism is. Then I'm scrolling down. Yeah, what is protectionism? Most economies would argue that free trade will benefit the global economy. However, sometimes countries believe that it is in their interest to restrict trade. For example, government may think it is necessary to protect their domestic producers from overseas competition. Basically, for protectionism, it means government is trying to ensure that domestic businesses are able to compete with foreign competitors. And to do that, they have to come up with trade barriers so that they will be the only ones that are producing, then they can be able to export. So what are the reasons for protectionism? Number one, prevent dumping. When you talk about dumping, it means foreign importation, the price of imports are lesser than domestic prices. And this might be as a result of foreign competitors having help, being financially helped by their government. So like maybe, oh, Libya does exports and Turkey buy from Libya, but the government of Libya gives subsidies to domestic producers here in Libya. So it means export becomes cheaper. So foreign customers will be able to buy cheap products from here more, and it might become cheaper than what they buy from their own domestic businesses. So that is dumping. Dumping means the price of importation is cheaper than the price of domestic products. And this could happen as a result of foreign businesses being able to, to get financial help from their own governments. And their government does that to make the price of export reduces for them so that they can do more of export to improve their own balance of payments. I think the point is clear. Protecting employment. As soon as there's threats from foreign competitors, it means that domestic businesses will not be able to sell as they used to sell. Not being able to sell will reduce their revenue. It won't allow them to expand. It won't allow them to make profits. As a result, they might want to reduce their cost by laying off workers. Government would not want this to happen because one of the government macroeconomic objectives is to increase employment or reduce unemployment. And for this to happen, firms should not start closing down. If firms start closing down as a result of increasing competition from foreign businesses, then it's bad for the economy. So government would want to protect that. And to protect that means they are protecting employment. The third one, to gain tariff revenue. Tariffs are taxes on importation. So if government wants to increase revenue through taxation, government might increase taxes on importation. That's about that. Preventing the entry of harmful or unwanted goods. Goods that could cause harm to the economy or to the people, which are demerit goods. Government would not want them to be imported or to be consumed by their citizens. Because if it's consumed by their citizens, it means government would have to spend on healthcare. As a result, government would want to stop it. Because it's an opportunity cost for government to spend on healthcare as a result of consuming imported demerit goods. Because they can spend that money on education or infrastructure. Clear. Reduce current deficits. Current deficit comes as a result of more imports, greater imports than exports. So for government to reduce current account deficits, government would have to restrict importation. And if government does that successfully, that means importation would reduce and the current account deficit would improve or reduce. Retaliation. The government of country A might come up with trade restriction because the government of country B, country C, has done it to country A. So they are doing it in retaliation. Clear. Then we go to methods of protectionism. When we talk about methods of protection, we're talking about methods in which government use for protectionism. Number one, tariffs. For tariffs, we are talking about taxes on importation. So if government wants to restrict importation, government might come up with increasing taxes on importation. As a result of that, the demand for importation will reduce, meaning that domestic consumers will start buying domestic products. As a result, they will be able to increase their output and the current account deficit will improve. Clear. Quotas. Quotas means putting a numerical value on the quantities of goods that can be imported into a country. When this happens, it means it limits the amount of goods that can come to the country, meaning that as soon as those goods, those limitations, those goods that are coming are done, domestic businesses will be able to sell, and that will increase their output and revenue. Subsidies. Subsidy is the financial help from government. So if government wants to help domestic firms, government can help them through financial aids like subsidy, which will allow them to have a reduction in their cost of production. Having a reduction in their cost of production would enable them to increase their output and be able to sell at a lower price in terms of export, which allows them to, to compete with foreign businesses. That's subsidies. Then we go to impact of tariffs and quotas and subsidies on protectionism. For tariffs and quotas, we're talking about import restriction, yes or no? Yes. So if government increases tariffs on importation and government reduces quotas, government has to reduce quota, not increase quotas. If government increases quotas, it means you can do more. The quota means reducing the limitation. Yeah. So if government increases quotas, it means government is telling you to bring more. But if government reduces quotas, it means government tells you to stop, to reduce what you are bringing into the country. So these two things would bring about a fall in the supply curve. So there will be an increase in tariffs and quotas will bring about a fall in the supply of imported goods into the country, shifting the supply curve leftward from S1 to S2, meaning that the quantity supplied the quantity supplied would reduce from Q1 to Q2, increasing the price from P1 to P2. Do you get it? Tariffs and quotas would increase prices. How would it increase price? It will increase price because the quantity supplied in the market would reduce from Q1 to Q2, shifting the supply curve for imports from S1 to S2. The price would rise from P1 to P2. Is it clear? So for subsidies, subsidy is a financial help from government, yes or no? With subsidies, it means prices will fall from P1 to P2. As a result, there will be an increase in the quantity supplied from Q1 to Q2. Then the supply curve will shift rightward from S1 to S2. Is it clear? Subsidy will increase output. Any question about that? So we'll go to the multiple choice questions. Number 1. Which of the following is the reason for protectionism?
To prevent dumping.
To prevent dumping. C. Good. So let's check the options. Protect low-paid workers. So when we talk about protecting low-paid workers, it's about employment, we call it employment regulations or employment policies. So it's not about protectionism. To protect the environment, to protect the environment, we have environmental protection, not trade protectionism. Clear?
Yeah.
The third one, preventing dumping, which is the answer anyway. And the last one, protect monopolies. If it's about protecting monopolies means that government, it's not going to be, protecting monopolies is not even government objective or government macroeconomic objective because government wants to increase competitiveness. When there are monopolies will bring about increasing prices, less choices for consumers. That means the welfare of consumers will not be there. So government wants to increase or improve the welfare of consumers. As a result, government would never want to protect monopolies. Is it clear?
Yeah.
So that's question 1, which is C. Question 2. Which of the following is the method of protectionism? Method.
A.
Quota. VAT is a tax. VAT is a tax. Is a type of tax. Product differentiation is for businesses in the competitive market to make a unique selling point. Minimum wage is government employment legislation. Any question about it? So that ends chapter 38, protectionism. Thank you.